Joe in the morning. How Joe and I landed on the same side is tied to the third millennium's first great turning of the ocean. Is this at last the water that turns only once? The sounds turned down, my hearings turned up, so assassination of woods and icebergs, the luring of a generation into a cage, new freedoms that show who doesn't really love freedom, fires and more fires, all make a pleasing murmur, reassuring my tinnitus, dulling or sharpening my will. Back and forth. For 10 years we tried to reenact 1970s holidays. Now we haul out the basics, dutifully, to placate Dad. In the TV nook of their gated Florida home, we watch Hallmark and Jimmy Stewart, prime time. We carry the third chair in, like a trunk, to carry it back out before bunking down. The glass fish on the shower's windowsill come and go, come and go, come and go. Not at will, but in time with hosts' and guests' ablutions. A schism in doctrines. The decor serves us, or we serve the decor. One thing's sure, dragging would damage the parquet and offend the ear. It isn't a referendum on moving stuff on pendulums. No one wants disorder. It's a question of what gets moved, when, and across which border. Every night, I track Louis XIV from room to room. A dream cycle here, another there, sharing myself with our palace, albeit smaller and sparer than his. In bed with Mike, I pluck a dream about an orchard. In the living room, the sofa becomes my grandmother's porch swing, always swinging forward. On the pillowed floor, I'm in a silent flick, tied with ribbons to a track. Then back in bed and nothing left to dream. As Gomer and his fellow recruits move a hole from one side of the barracks to the other, Sergeant Carter screams with red passion only comedy could tolerate. Anger Gomer absorbs with saintly good cheer. Fear keeps me from repeating the scene in Bent. A pair of inmates passing each other again and again, watched over by squinting guns, making love one rock at a time, single whispered word after word. I am afraid the scene's not as powerful as I remember from that summer. I tried to watch the movie with Jagger last week, but froze when Nazi jeers assaulted the woods. City interiors. With what I say, or what I'd say, Ray Charles improvised his way into our plumbing and our beds, into our soul. Whether his mama was twisting her diamond ring, her flesh, or his, is diamond hard, diamond bright accident. I think a lot about city interiors. I really can't say why. Hopper in an interview. His slow old man's voice could be any white northerner's who is male and old and slow, or slow and old and male, or yes, even old and male and slow. It was only when I replayed the video to find out whether I heard really that I noticed the stress on say. I wonder who else has noticed, and what will we say to each other if we meet? Nothing if we meet in a hopper, alone, or busy shutting in and being shut in. No, not busy, but absorbed, which is different, better, worse, better, different than, what was the rejected word? Did I say it? Was it only implied? My name spoken by emptiness at normal speed, greatly sped up by the slow, old male air. I'm writing this with a black felt-tip pen. I'd rather be having fun. Compensation. For every family scattered and broken, Paul Simon sings in wartime prayers. Anyone could say the same while stepping in or out of showers, sinking into or rising from cars. We all have barometers growing in us like friendly cancers. We are all ticks on surveys we fail to see as uniters. Some of us, who have crimson and burnt sienna on our jeans, who wake with odd, insistent haikus in our beds, as though a one-morning stand crept under the covers while we were snoring, whose roots tunnel air when they find no ground, have found a great offsetter of the scatter. Dad in the drivers, me in the maps, Mom in the back seat. We are a mini studio speeding down interstates, wedding stepping around the loop, keeping Florida's long dark highway from hypnotizing us. Day breaks with smoke, standing like smokestacks in the sugar cane. We planned the caper for Christmas Day's idle fields. Swift as a SWAT team, my sneakers muddy from not quite clearing the irrigation ditch. We are in and out and off again with a stalk for my Vietnamese boyfriend. 1,000 times we've heard him pine for the cheap, sweet cane snacks of childhood Hanoi. Once our thieving hearts slow, we settled into the talk show, part Conan O'Brien, part Bill Moyer. When I was 4, my playmate and I smothered 3 fledglings in a mud pie. I'm still ashamed. Do you remember how your granddad used to visit? Run in the back door, 5 minutes at the kitchen table, out the same door, breathless, because a different door would have tempted fate. How I loved them, how they loved me. In 1982, shortly before or after parachuting out of a balloon aptly and inaptly called high school, Bob, Ken, Beth, Becky, and I saw Making Love. In my memory, we're at a drive-in, a 4-block-sized gravel field penned in by acres of cornfield. That can't be right. We must be at the Batesville Bijou, 30 miles from our town, scorned for its scarce parking, applauded for a sign fronting a nearby house. Free sex. Now that I have your attention, no parking here. I remember the darkness in the theater. If you had asked me before, I'd have told you darkness had no texture. The light that rushed from behind us, barely disturbing the dark, threw itself at the screen with no hesitation. I'd have told you there's no such thing as brave or rash light. I remember watching my straight friends' faces as closely as I watched the plot, and with comparable satisfaction. I don't remember what I or they said during those 30 miles back, in a dark of kindred but not identical texture. If I could gather them again into the darkness of intimacy, I would force more than my glowing, half-lit face to tell them, but what am I saying? Here, in a poem that obeys me, I shine it on the screen with the credits, load it in high beams, write it on the road, splash its Damascus light in the eyes of oncoming drivers. Love's lurch like a manual transmission in a novice's fist, sudden progress in a crowded room, waiting for our new adulthood to resume, ready to be marked by lights 100 times louder than any projector's beam. No, I cannot give you false hope on this strange and mournful day, when the mother and child reunion is only a motion away. Oh, little darling of mine, I can't for the life of me remember a Saturday. I know they say let it be, it just don't work out that way, and the course of a lifetime runs over and over again. I would not give you false hope on this strange and mournful day, when the mother and child reunion is only a motion away. Oh, little darling of mine, I just can't believe it's so. And though it seems strange to say, I've never been laid so low, in such a mysterious way, and the course of a lifetime runs over and over again. I cannot give you false hope on this strange and mournful day, when the mother and child reunion is only a motion away.